Oh, okay. So it was A, I guessed it wrong, but it's all right. We can learn a little bit more. Maybe the radio was invented even way before that, so maybe we can figure it out. It says, using Mayday as a distress call starting in 1923. So Mayday actually was used a long time ago before World War II. Okay, now when you're in distress, it means that a boat or an airplane is in danger. They're in a situation where they need help immediately. And like I said, you do not want to hear Mayday when you're on a boat or a plane because it means that things are going really bad and something really bad is going to happen.
Right. And now we'll find out who it was who invented it. The article says, at this time, radio officer Frederick Stanley Mockford was asked to create a type of call to be used in emergencies. And that verb create is one that we've heard before when we were talking about the word invent. And create is just another word that means to make up. We can use create about pretty much anything. You can create a type of call, like Mockford did here, or you can create a new dish of food, a TV show, a bookcase, anything. Another example, talking about the same thing as Tiffany did in her example about invent, would be the sentence, a man from Scotland created the first telephone in 1876.
All right, so yes, we don't want to hear this word, but we did learn that Mockford did create this call in case of an emergency. Now, emergency is a noun and it means something that you don't expect happens, and it's usually kind of a dangerous situation. So you will need to have someone help immediately. So you will need immediate help, you will need immediate action, you need someone to do something ASAP. For example, we can say, in an emergency, always make sure someone calls 119 or the local number that you call for help.
Right. The article then explains why he created this. It says, much of the radio communication he was responsible for was between Croydon Airport in the UK and Le Bourget Airport in Paris. And that word I just used, communication, is a noun that means sending messages or information. Communication is any way we talk to each other, like writing, speaking, using our phones or the internet or radio. So the radio communication that Mockford was responsible for was between London and Paris. It was people talking over the radio.
All right, so we saw the phrase here, to be responsible for, or we use a be verb, responsible for.
Right.
This phrase means that you have the job or task of doing something. You are in charge of it and you're held responsible for that. So here in this sentence, it means that Mockford was in charge of communication between Croydon Airport and Le Bourget Airport. So he was the person that was connecting these two airports together and making sure that they knew when to land the plane or when to take off and things like that.
And it talks about how he needed something new. He needed to invent something new. The article says, thus, the word needed to be one easily understood and pronounced by both English and French speakers. And that word pronounce is a vocab word that's very important for anyone learning languages because it means to say a word correctly. The article means that both English and French speakers, who spoke different languages that don't sound the same, needed to be able to say the word and understand each other. An example sentence might be, an important part of language classes is learning to read and pronounce words the right way.
All right, so next it says, with this in mind, Mockford decided to use an English word that sounded like m'aider, which means help me in French. Okay, yes, I need help because my French pronunciation was probably not that accurate, but he decided to use an English word that kind of sounded like that. And just coincidentally, this word in French also means help me, okay? So we saw the phrase with something in mind. Now, this means that there's a particular thing that you're thinking about, and you do this thing with it as your main goal, as your main focus, as your aim. So he's thinking, okay, I need to find a word that means help me in French. And so that's why he thought about this word that we use today. Let's take a look. It says,
Right. And the article ends with, Mayday has been used as a distress call ever since.
So if you do not know French, you don't know how to say help me in French, you can also just try to say Mayday. Or try to say in a very French way, Maydia or something. And then I'm sure someone will come and help you out. So that's a little bit of the history that we learned about using these words that people in the military or people who are flying planes, these words actually have a meaning behind it. It's not something that people made up out of the blue. So it's very important if, let's say you're on an airplane or something, and something happens, you can think about these codes and you can ask for help, or you can ask for things if you really, really need to.
Right.
All right, so that's the end of our article, but we'll be right back with our For You chat.